I like it. I think I need lessons just on cool. I need cool lessons.
I just don't want to look at my puffy eyes.
All you need is a cigarette.
It's a little Hunter S. Thompson vibes, huh?
Yeah. All right. Oh, actually, then all you need is a wacky tobacco cigarette
Yeah. I don't know if
or
he wore an
some
A's.
acid.
I don't know if he wore an A's hat though.
Well, no one does.
I
So
actually
yeah, you're
I put these on as a joke, but honestly, this room I need to do something about my shades because I get a glare and
your
just
shades and your shades.
I need more shade and I have my ring light here and it's just,
Yeah.
my
Actually,
eyes
I see the ring light reflection, and it's pretty
weird.
superstar. I like it.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Uh yeah,
Okay. No.
so whatever. I'm rolling with it. I'm calling these the pod glasses.
Yeah, dude. I grew up an A's fan, so I love seeing that and us talking about it last time. And I'm curious what's going on with them. You know, they just seem like the most no man's land lost franchise. And did they just get bought, or do we know?
Man, I don't really know exactly what's happening with them. Yeah, they're in SAC right now. I know that Oakland was just a mess, and so I think they're going to Vegas.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I heard that. But I
And
was gonna say it's like the band T-shirt thing. Like, name three players on the A's.
yeah, right. Well, I could now because like
Because you just went to the game.
went to the
Yeah.
game and I am honestly, yeah, I'm just kind of like inheriting the A's.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
I'm kind of inheriting baseball. I never was a baseball fan, but
Nah, me neither.
my kids are very invested in baseball right now, and I'm also like a coach. I'm coaching,
Are
and
you serious?
oh
I
yeah,
didn't know this.
yeah. Actually, my wife Amy is okay. These are driving me crazy. Okay, now I'm not cool. We're recording, right? Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're recording.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so when Slater started playing baseball, there weren't any coaches, and they said, yeah, if you guys want to play, we need coaches. And we're like, oh crap. And so she's like, I guess I'll coach. I grew up, she grew up in a baseball family, and she's like, but I don't really know anything. And so I was the assistant coach, and she would just tell everyone what to do. And it
Yeah.
actually was so much fun that we went through his first season, then we did fall ball, and now we're in the third season, and she's the head coach, and we have like the best.
Dude, this is
Yeah,
amazing. I didn't know this. I love this.
yeah, and we're like the best team. Like
Do you guys talk about baseball like over drinks?
we talk. It's kind of disgusting, honestly. Like
Yes.
we go to like because we have a whole thing. It's baseball, and then we go to Skipolini's, which Skipolini's Bay Area
Heck
is
yeah.
everywhere, and
Come on.
we have one out by
So
us,
good.
and we
Yeah.
sit there, and the kids play, and we sit and we talk about our team, and we talk about the lineup, and we talk about
Mm-hmm.
like it's like
Should we move little Jimmy to clean up? I mean,
no,
he's been hitting it.
like that's a joke, but we're dead serious because like I mean
Yeah.
these are Slater's 7,
Yeah.
but we have like a totally stacked team, and so it's
Yes.
like 7. Yes, they're kids. Like Slater's in first grade. Some of them are even kindergarten. But
Mm-hmm.
in a sport like baseball, it's already getting serious. Like where it's like
Is it T-ball?
no, it's pitching. And
Oh, wow.
and this year is the first year where it's player pitch too. So they're pitching, and
Yeah.
so basically how it works is the player will get a shot at pitching, and then
Mm-hmm.
they'll either strike out, which sometimes happens, or if they throw 4 balls, then the coach jumps in and pitches.
Okay.
And
I
so
like it.
I'm the backup pitcher because we have
Yeah.
our other coach Matt. He's the main guy, but last season I pitched all the time.
Love it.
I beaned a kid a few times.
Yeah, not by accident.
No, yeah, right. But so yeah,
I hate that kid.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been fun, and for me, growing up, I was never a baseball kid.
Yeah.
I
was.
don't know if I've told this story, but when I was a freshman, that was also the same year that music got really introduced to me.
Right.
I loved basketball.
Yeah, that's my
and
number
and
one.
so when I was coming up, like all through junior high, I was all about basketball. It was like basketball, basketball, basketball. I was point guard, like everything was basketball. And I also
Wait
played.
a minute, you a point guard? No, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
that's the only sport I could, or the only position I could pull
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
But
How was those Playing center, no big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. But so I was obsessed with basketball, but then I was also really into football. And so I was like, of course I'm going to play football. And so I played
Yeah.
football. Season didn't go great. I was just, it was a new game, high school,
Yeah.
just a different
Yeah.
world. And then I was like,
Hmm.
crap. And my buddy, who was also a guitar player, we started playing guitar together. He
Yeah.
played football and he was kind of messing around the whole time. And we were just, and so it just wasn't good for my sports career because we were just talking about
Music is always a great way out of sports, or,
exactly. And so,
to never have to be involved with it.
exactly. And so it's the picture started getting painted my freshman year, like, okay,
Hmm.
maybe sports aren't happening. And then, so then I'm like, well, I got to play basketball because I'm a basketball player. And so I
Yeah.
went out right after football season. And of course, I tried out for basketball thinking, like, yeah, dude, like I'm the guy.
Oh man.
I played summer league for a different school, actually.
Hmm.
And I was like starting point guard, and I played them. So I was like, yeah, of course, like I'm good. And so I went out, but none of the coaches knew who I was, and
Yep.
because I didn't do any of the training, and I
Right.
just was like, what's up, like, and I
Yep.
didn't make the team,
That's what happened to me at De La Salle in
and
Concord,
that's very
because
competitive.
oh yeah, and they had like 150 kids try out, and the first day it's everyone they know from summer league,
Exactly.
and I was just an invisible, scrawny
Yep.
kid,
Yeah.
and I just was like flung away, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
And then I like, but it devastated me because
Dude.
I didn't know any. They probably didn't even, there's like 20 games going on at once, all throughout the gymnasium. And they're like walking around, the coaches looking at people who stand out and watching the kids they already knew. So I don't even know if they saw me play.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Dude.
that kid's small,
Yeah.
you know,
I
we don't
was
know him.
so that was maybe one of the hardest devastations to my ego. Uh
Dude, I tore down all the posters in my room
oh yeah,
of like
okay.
Magic,
Yeah,
because
dude.
I was Magic has always been my Magic, and Dr. J, my
Nice.
two favorites.
Yeah.
And then later, you kind of learn more about the players personally. I don't know. Are you watching games still? I know we're
See,
talking a bunch of sports.
I
Sorry.
no, yeah, whatever. No, I basketball is actually the one sport that I in the past 10, 15 years I just don't follow it. So I don't even know. I mean,
Oh my God, I'm like
yeah, and
reading about it every day.
see, I should because I love basketball, man. I really
That's
do.
great.
Um, but yeah, that freshman year, I remember going up to it was the history teacher at my high school was also the basketball coach for freshmen.
Yeah, that
And I
happens.
see the
Yeah.
list, and as I'm walking up, I see the kids going, yeah, all right, cool. And I heard someone say, oh, Jeff didn't make the team. And I'm like, what?
Before you saw it, you're
I
like, it's a different Jeff. You
I
hoped.
I heard
Jeff
some
Southerberg
I
didn't
heard
make
someone
it. Yeah.
say it, and I walked up
Yeah.
and I just looked at the list like 5 times, and I was like, and I saw the other names on there, and some of them I'm like, what? How would he make it? Why didn't I?
Harold sucks.
Yeah,
What?
there was this
Yeah.
guy like Andy Nettles made it. What the? How'd
That's a
he?
perfect name.
Yeah, and dude, devastated. I already had like my new Penny Hardaway shoes I bought. I
Oh,
was ready. I was so ready, and it just broke my heart, dude. And so
yeah, dude.
yeah, where was it?
How
Oh yeah,
interesting. We had the same really first heartbreak,
yeah,
for the same reason, same time in our lives, and also that's when I turned to music
that's right. Yeah, when
because
you tore down
when I
that
tore
Doctor.
down Magic,
Yeah,
under it was Prince.
that's
Yeah.
what I was gonna say. Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
David Bowie, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
You're like,
Same
wait a
thing.
minute, this is
No, it was
cool.
like Prince holding a flower. My mom was like, "Are you gay?"
But then
And that's a whole other conversation.
Prince is like, oh, by the way, I ball too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So keep that broken heart you got. No, but it's funny because that a little bit of a callback, but the to get in that we talked about when standing in line was
Yeah.
at a Rockets game in
Yeah.
Houston. But so I'm just trying to connect this to music to say that any road gig we have, if I'm playing anywhere near an NBA stadium, I'm gonna try to go to a
Yeah,
game as
dude.
part of the trip. So like Noel and I's goal is to go to every stadium in the nation if we can,
Oh yeah.
including Toronto. Go,
Yep.
let's go to Canada too. But so we've gone to maybe like 5 so far
Dude.
out of 30. But it's so fun, and I can't believe she's willing to go. But
Yeah.
I think that's one thing about basketball is it's got, in my opinion, I'll probably get flamed for this, but it has kind of like a elegance and style factor that seems higher,
Hmm.
or it's a different vibe than the other major sports.
Yeah.
And the example I'll give for it is this: how do players dress when they come to the game and
Yeah.
aren't playing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, or
Absolutely.
even just yeah, actually, everybody's styling when they walk in the stadium,
Flossing a little bit.
but
A
yeah,
lot.
flossing,
A lot.
but there's a lot more suits.
Yep.
Lately, not frankly, the last like 5 years or so, everything's, or 10 maybe, everything's changed. But it's got a factor. If you go to the game, you're more likely to be a little bit more dressed up. Football, you may not even wear a shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Baseball is like, it's just chili dog feeling
Yeah.
more,
Baseball is a
which is
little.
fine.
It's a little sloppy. You got all the things on your neck, and like it's like it's.
Hardly anyone's running in the sport
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of standing.
Yep.
So I don't know how that relates, and I don't want to. One thing my dad, here's a hub thing too that he always does is he cannot give a compliment to one thing without wrecking on another.
Yeah.
So it's not like I like your shirt. It's like, at least that shirt's better than that horse shit you wore yesterday. You know what I mean? You're like,
And you're like,
okay.
wow. And he's like, what? I'm giving you a compliment.
Yeah, exactly. I said I like your shirt. Why you moping? You just tore down your shirt poster. You know.
Totally. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's yeah. I'm kind of bad at that too, actually. Or not actually. I'm bad at taking a compliment. Like if
Oh
someone
yeah,
says something, and then I'm
if
like,
someone gives you a compliment, you rip on them back just
yeah,
to like
or just I rip on
deflect it.
myself whatever they said.
Yeah,
Hey, you sounded good tonight. Well, yeah, but I fucking suck. So I mean,
yeah, and
there's
also
that.
my shirt's ugly.
Yeah,
My dad told me that.
still, yeah. They're like, you played good tonight. Well, I didn't make the freshman basketball team.
Yeah,
So
right. I still have bare walls to remind
yeah.
myself.
Okay, dude, sorry. This is a little sports
Yeah,
heavy in the beginning here, but
yeah.
where I was going, I was kind of going through my whole freshman year, didn't make freshman basketball. So then at that point, I was like, sports are done. Like, I don't want to play sports. I'm just going to like figure something. I was into music. So, but then my friend who I messed around with, like we're dicking around in football, he was a
Mhm.
baseball player and he goes, dude, I made grades. Like, this is such a stoner, perfect
Oh
freshman.
yeah,
He's like, bro, I made grades. Like, I'm gonna
all
play.
D's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like all D's barely made it. He's like, I can play baseball, dude. He's like, you need to come play too. And I was like, I don't play baseball. Like, I don't know. Like,
and
I
also I don't have the grades.
yeah, no, I did have the grades at that
Yeah,
point. But he's like, dude, just try out. You won't make the team. And that's what a stoner move. Like, I was like, oh yeah, good idea. So I go out and I try out and I made the damn team.
why would he want you to try out and not make the team just for fun?
He just wanted me to hang out with him. We were like
I see. Right.
just bros. It was like
I
he's
got
like,
you.
just come hang out with me. Like you got to do
Come
it.
do a podcast together. It'll fail.
Yeah, yeah. So I went and tried out and I made the team and it was the worst like 4 months of my life. Like playing baseball with these kids
Yeah.
that are serious and I'm just
Right.
like and the coach goes, "Has anybody ever not played baseball?" And I was too embarrassed to raise my hand.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Cool." But then he was just like, "Wow, Sabru really sucks."
Nice.
But whatever. Now I'm loving it though because I'm playing with 7-year-olds, so I'm killing them.
You're
Just,
dominating.
yeah,
Yeah.
just freaking crushing it. Yeah.
Ah,
So,
that's
anyways,
great.
that's my sport. But yeah, for reals, music came in and just was like, this is what's happening, in my life.
Well, when we started music, before or around freshman year and started really thinking about it, did we ever think that the following might happen? So, because I know you have a ton of solo acoustic stuff to say. My last one was the bagpipes, but
Yep.
the one after that I did, and I wonder if you get this, any solo players out there. So you get a lot of shout out song requests, right?
Yep.
And I never considered this before, but sometimes the song requests are not serious, but
Oh,
I don't know that. So like you have a guy drinking beers and he goes, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and you're like, well, I
Like,
got that one,
I
right?
know, I mean, but you don't know if they're kidding. So I
Right.
kind of I saw the guy and it's kind of a small enough place that he's like Taylor Swift and then he's like drinking his beer, he's like so I'm like, okay,
Take
he's fucking
that.
with yeah, he's messing with me. Yeah. But so I kind of go, aha, I get what you're doing there. And I go and I do it something else. And the woman that his girlfriend, I guess, comes up to me and goes, yeah, but can you really play Taylor Swift, please? And I was like, not please, actually. Usually when people do requests, they're not that, manners. They
Yeah,
don't have they come up. She's like, dude, I want you to play Taylor Swift.
yeah,
Just do it though.
yeah.
I was like,
And they just
I
crumple
do
up a
have,
dollar and throw it in your tip jar. Like,
if
see?
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's like, yeah, play Taylor Swift though, seriously. And I was like, okay, I got it for you. And she goes, yeah, but I want to tell you which song I want. And
Okay.
I was like, that's gonna
Yeah.
take it too
You're like,
far.
how about you just put the quarter in my ass? Because I'm obviously just a jukebox here, right?
Cha-ching! And I was like,
Let me
I
put my
don't
glasses
know
back on.
every Taylor Swift song. And I think named one that was like, oh, come on, Loneliness in the Mall in Denver or whatever.
What?
Like, I mean, some fucking
Yeah, come on.
Taylor Swift song.
You know that one? I didn't make the freshman basketball team in Denver.
Don't you know teardrops in my Venmo? Whatever
Yeah.
shit. So I like did one, and I go, I don't want you to tell your guy because I want to see if he knows it because he's the one, and I'm going to dedicate it to him.
There we go.
Which I did, and he didn't know, and then she didn't know that Taylor Swift song.
Yeah.
So that was
Dude,
a
see,
loss.
this is something that does happen all the time where you play a song, like let's just any artist, I don't know, Sublime. You play a Sublime song, right? And
Yeah.
there's a group
Mhm.
of people, and you play it clearly. It's one of the most popular ones. And like 2 songs later, they'll go, "Can you play some Sublime?"
Right.
And you're like,
Or they think you know every Sublime song and they call it deep cuts.
"Yeah,
Like
right,
50 other people are not going to tip you for.
yeah, exactly." And then
Well, so you could do one of those.
yeah, and
but-
then there's always another good one is there's always someone that has the best ideas for you for songs.
Right.
The
Oh,
guy
yeah.
that's like, what would be super cool is if you
Yeah.
played Simple Plan. Like
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
like
Right.
that song, and I'm like, kind of.
You're like, you realize there's 100 people here and
Yeah.
I need to try to please everybody
Yeah.
and set the vibe.
They're like, yeah, they like pull out their demo CD from 1995. It'd be cool is if you played this song.
Yeah. Or they say, yeah, like you said, they say something really deep cut that's like weird and not like a easy listen for people
Yeah.
who are like, there's this song off Rush's third album.
Yeah,
It's got like all these killer time signature changes.
yeah.
I'm a drummer, but anyway,
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, yeah. And then it's always like, yeah, I think it would sound good on it, man. I think you should do it. Check it out. Okay, yeah.
You're like, there's no guitar in it. It's an acapella. Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, I'll check that out. Or I
Yeah.
always get a lot of like really old, like obscure James Taylor requests where it's just
Oh
like,
yeah, lots
I'm
of
just
those.
like Jesus, and those are not ones you can just go like boop and pick up. It's like all weird.
Well, you could just sing any song that you're gonna do in a James Taylor voice.
Yeah.
No vibrato and just like the most reedy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Are you not a fan?
Obviously, not really.
Yeah,
I think he's a really good songwriter, and I know this is blasphemy to someone like Eric Schramm.
Oh, he likes
guitar
James
and
Taylor.
musician great. Yeah, and he'll point out, of course, a great song that he'll show me. Like, look, how much do you hate James Taylor now?
Yeah.
And you show one of his 5,000 songs that's good. Like they do that to me with
He's covering
the
a Taylor.
Grateful Dead.
He's covering a Taylor Swift song. Yeah. See, told you
Yeah.
he's a good songwriter.
Yeah, this Venmo thing is killer. So he has great songs. I like the song Mexico and I just when I hear his Christmas song, I am so bummed and grossed out. I forgot which one it is, but it's so like a bummer.
Yeah.
You're
like, I can't wait.
Chestnuts roasting on an
Yeah.
open fire.
Yeah. You're like, I can't wait for Flag Day.
I know.
Get me out of this holiday.
My favorite.
I've never got into his music. Yeah, to me, it's very. It just doesn't grab me. Nothing grabs
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
What does grab me is there's a lot of lyrics, and the
Yeah.
chords are almost not even like equal lengths and stuff. Where like
What do you
certain,
mean by lengths?
just like, it might do like a D chord for like 2.5 bars, and then like A minor for like
Oh, which is
weird
very folky, I think. Like,
folky.
because
It's just totally following.
Joni Mitchell has that kind of thing where
Yes.
the arrangements of the way the chords happen are based on someone sitting there
Yes.
by themselves, and they say, "Hey, the melody goes here,
And
right here."
we're going
and it's
there,
very
man.
loose.
I
I
like
like
that.
that,
I
and
like
I love Joni.
I
Oh my God.
I like that, and I do like that with James Taylor too, because I've only had to learn his music one time, and it was for a funeral, and that was weird because it was also a bummer. I don't understand why. No.
Oh, Mexico.
We just sang the Christmas song over and over. No.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
No.
It's like
So it was
monotone.
actually me and Nervo. We had to do a bunch, and I was like, dude, like it took some time to learn those songs. I was like, wow, and just it's one of those we
Yeah.
did it, and nobody gave a shit. It was just like
No one gives a shit, and
we
then
could-
you forget how they go because they are a bit unique.
yeah,
The arrangements. You
yeah,
can't just pull them out as easily.
totally. I don't do any of those. I mean, I'm always open to it because you do learn something every time you. And please, if there
Big
is a
time.
listener out there, you just mentioned this band. If there is a listener that can show me a Grateful Dead song that will make me understand it, please let me know. Because
Well, I don't think they are a listener, but the person that showed me a couple of Grateful Dead songs, and I kind of was like, okay, is Zypher. Zypher is a very unique guy in our music community, our Bay Area community. He's a sound engineer, but he's also actually a brilliant songwriter and artist. Did you know that he has a solo album?
I don't even know who it is.
So Christopher Fortier.
Oh,
His last name is Fortier.
yeah.
And so as an artist, he spells it like XFR.
Oh, I didn't know that.
4TA.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but he's got really eclectic, and he's just a really interesting guy.
Yes, he is.
Played guitar in a pretty popular Bay Area kind of outsider band called Griddle.
I've
for
heard
a
of
lot
that.
of years.
I've heard of
Yep. And so growing up, I admired them. They're kind of
that.
maybe a little bit Zappa-esque.
Yeah.
Just wacky.
Yeah.
And but that's just a shout out to our man. We call him Zypher.
Yeah.
Exifer.
I've
yeah.
spent
So he likes the Dead.
quite a few. I've had a few hangs with him for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try and I try and I try to find something where, because I mean, obviously John Mayer is doing his thing with
Right.
them, and he's no hack, like,
Right.
and he loves the Dead, and he loved the Dead
Yeah.
before, and that's why he's in there. Other
Yeah.
guitar players, so many amazing musicians that I admire, love the Dead. And so I try, but it's like it's like a needle in a haystack. I'm like going through the songs, and I'm like, okay,
Nope.
like, just
Nope.
like I'm like, okay, I'm 8 minutes into this one, and I'm not moved.
Yeah, I think at some point, hey, just people like what they like, and
Yes.
I think it gets to be a waste of time to force it. I know you're not really doing it that much, but
Yeah. Every day. I'm like, you're like, hey man, can we do a
it's my
podcast?
Grateful Dead hour.
Yeah,
Leave me alone.
yeah,
I'll be back.
You're like, can we start at 9? I'm like, I can't. I'm listening to the Dead.
Yeah, you should listen to the Dead before every podcast. You're like, how's it going?
Wavy Gravy, man. That's the guy.
Yeah. Right.
Dude, so I had a show last night, my regular at the lounge.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's so crazy how crowds are so unpredictable. You never know how crowded a show like that's going to be. Like, as I'm driving up, so it's in downtown Brentwood, which is out by me. The area is packed, right? I'm like, oh, okay. Like this, it's kind of it's a happening
That's good.
night, right? But it's actually cold. I don't know.
It's been cold.
Yeah, it's been
here too.
Strangely colder than normal. Like there's a little cold front.
Yeah.
And so that usually is not good. so I know it's cold, but I'm like, wow, it's totally packed. But so I roll in, and it was just the most dead night ever. Like,
Packed everywhere else is the
yeah,
word you left out.
just so dead, man. And
Yeah.
and it was kind of exhausting,
So do you play original songs when it's dead
I you know
or
what
when it's packed?
I didn't last night, but I will throw it in. You know what? I'll do it sometimes. When because Eddie comes to those shows sometimes, and
Uh-huh.
he knows
Yeah.
all my music, and
Oh
so
yeah.
I will do
There
it.
you go.
And then I'm always like, wow, this
And
is
still no one cares,
yeah. No one does
including
care.
him.
No one cares. Yeah. And actually, I did a little joke with him a couple weeks ago because he came and I had sent him a song to mix.
Right.
And I knew he was busy, and I wasn't sure if he'd started the song yet. And so
Right.
I
So you play it.
played the first verse of the song because I'm like, I know if he's mixing it, he'll know what this is.
Right. Of
And I
course.
started it and nothing. And I was like, okay.
Right.
And so
Yep.
I told him,
Yep.
I was like, yeah, I gave you a little tester. He's like, oh, yeah, no, I haven't started. I'm like, I know.
That's good. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. So, but
I
yeah, it
like it.
is fun to do some originals, like, and get them out there. I'm going to start doing it more. I'm
But here's
actually,
another question for that, because having to do with when you play originals at a solo gig. I'm wondering this from our listener too, anyone who plays solo shows. Okay, so how often and under what circumstance do you throw in an original, and then do you identify it as
yeah.
your own? And when do you see if people like it first and then say it after, or do
Yeah.
you say, hey, you guys, I want to play you one of mine?
Yeah.
So that I think is interesting. And usually
Yeah.
I don't say anything, just to tell you my approach. I don't say anything and I'll play it. And if it gets, actually, even if it doesn't get a reaction, I might say,
Yeah.
oh, well, no, very few. I'll probably do it if there's some kind of attention and interaction going on,
Yeah.
just because I know I'll be able to mention it and someone will be reacting to that news in some
Yes.
way. So I'll play, and it works out. It's good to do it.
Right.
Sometimes I don't want to like mess up the fact that I'm getting tips and playing all the Hotel
Yeah.
Californias that you can imagine.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can get them so much on your side, or they're willing to listen to things they haven't heard. Because I'll also do this thing, this giving away. Well, it's just my style, but I'll
Giving
do a
away the
bunch of like
tricks.
a little bit. I'll say, hey, okay, we're gonna do name that artist, and I'll play like
Mm-hmm.
5 one-hit wonders,
Yeah.
and maybe the first one will be super easy, and then I'll kind of move more and more obscure,
Yeah.
and then I'll get so obscure I play my own. So,
Yeah. Yep.
uh,
Yeah.
but that's a good way.
I like the reveal after. I like that approach.
You
'Cause
also can get, if you have the guess the artist. Sorry to interrupt you. Is you get to see who people think your music sounds like.
ooh, yeah,
Because
that's
if
good.
they're really engaged, they might say, Wavy Gravy. And you're like, no, that's not anything like this.
You're like, not anymore. That was like 10 years ago.
That was in my pot smoking days. Yeah.
Wavy gravy, dude. What I also I'll do a little if I'm feeling a little jokey, and this is pretty cheesy, but I will call out an original. I'll be like, I'm gonna do an original song, check this out, I've been working on this, and then I'll play like Hotel California.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
And
That's
that's
like,
super cheesy, but
that's Zema level.
you'll get a little
Yeah. I wrote this one this morning
yeah.
on the flight in or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
That's usually when I'm like really not caring too much.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like,
Sure.
what? Which is more fun, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I always try to get to that point where you're just totally free and like ripping on people in the audience or getting ripped on. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Change the lyrics, which, Clay's really good at that too. And
Yeah.
just making new songs. He also, and probably you're better at this than me too, is one kind of trick is to know how different chord structures or melodies are related to each other in other songs.
Yeah.
So you just make mashups up in the moment.
Yes.
And you guys are more guitar minded than me in terms of that. So I could see, like you said, I just play whatever on top of is on my head,
Yeah.
in my head, right? Which no, I'm more like looking through my charts
Yeah.
and seeing what mood I want to
Yeah.
do. And then since I'm not, I usually, as a Barry musician, hired as a singer. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of not playing as often. Just, oh, Jesse's Girl's in my
Yeah.
back of my head. I already know it. I have to like look at the chart,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
It depends on the song. Sometimes I'll be playing something, and it usually depends on if I maybe recently played a song that I
Yeah,
normally don't play, and I go, I'll be
right.
playing like the other day I was playing like freaking. I always do like the Joker, like which is
Oh
a
yeah.
standard. Everybody
Oh
loves
yeah.
that song, so it's like
Oh yeah.
you do that, and that usually will grab a certain demographic of people
Mm-hmm.
that'll kind of get on your side, like
Sure.
that maybe wouldn't initially, like they're like, oh,
Right.
okay, like yeah, you're playing like some classics, that's cool.
Right.
So I'll be like, I was playing that a couple weeks ago, and I realized like, oh, I could also just go right into Weezer sweater song, right? It's exactly the
Wow.
same as far
Nice.
as chords. So I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm a joker, na, 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 and then it's like, if you want to destroy,
Hmm.
it's the same.
That's cool.
And then you go back to it, and it's like, okay. Some people, it usually doesn't matter. Like that kind of a mashup, you
Right.
might have like someone in my age range that would be like, oh, that was cool, but for the most part, people are like, what'd you just do there? But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They're not gonna recognize it.
but um, yeah. Oh, I want to talk about something that happened, was it 2 weeks ago? About getting offered a gig and I actually said no. And it really was messing with my soul a little bit.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because you talk to anybody in music and it's like, you just gotta be open to opportunities. You gotta say yes and just, I did this and that's what led to that. And it is true. It's like,
To a point.
to a
Yeah.
point. So I got called on, it was like a Wednesday, the Wednesday before Easter Sunday, by a friend that's pretty connected to like artists and stuff. And he goes, hey, I have this Mexican artist, the MD, they need someone. They're playing a show in the Bay Area on Sunday, which was Easter. Um,
Yeah.
Now, I'm not super religious. Like, it's not
Yeah.
like I was going to go to church all day or anything, but I had like
Right.
family plans.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I knew immediately, I was like, oh crap. Like, if I say yes to this, I'm going to be shedding every day until that Sunday, and then my Sunday's gone. And I
Yep.
could like charge what I wanted, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, yeah, let me think about it. And I look up the artist, and is a very legit big Mexican artist. Like
Hmm.
has like
Big
1.5
as in popular.
popular. Yeah, like yeah, like huge. It's like 7'5".
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways, a huge following and pretty cool. And it probably could have led to whatever. But I was like, you know what? I can't do it, but I will find you someone. And I recommended Nervo to do it.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, okay, good. So, and I was like, you know
Did he
what?
do it?
So
No.
he goes, let me think about it. And I was like, yeah, I expected you to say that, So like
Yeah.
he weighed it and he goes, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, tight, dude, awesome. And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, wait, you speak Spanish, right? And he's like, yeah.
Yep.
He's like, that was my first language. I'm like, dude. And I started looking at the guitar player for that band, and he looked like Nervo.
Oh,
I was
crazy.
like, dude, this could be a really cool thing for you, man. Like, and I was getting excited. And he's like, yeah, okay. And I knew and know that he would crush it. He would do the work.
Of
Um,
course.
and so, but anyways, what happened was the guitar player for that band ended up getting his visa, and so it just didn't happen anyways. But I was like stoked, like, oh, cool, man. I'm like I felt bad about saying no at first.
You know what I wonder though too is, I mean, it's not that likely, but sometimes it's the speed with which you answer as well. I know for me as a band leader, if I don't get kind of a fast and furious answer from someone
Yeah,
that's on fire to do a gig, I'm going to move on. I'm going to look. Even if they
yep,
said maybe, let me see,
yeah.
I'll keep looking and
I
I'll be like, it's gone.
I don't accept a maybe. Like
Yeah. Well, if they say
if it was
let me see if I'm busy or something, just it's not necessarily giving you a cold maybe, but
yeah,
it's not no matter what, I want to do this.
Yeah. If
Like look right now on my calendar.
if it was me, like I was just kind of like laid back about it because I was like, it wasn't my gig, it was like I
Right.
can't do it. And I asked him, and it wasn't really on me to find someone. I was just kind of helping the guy out. But if it
Yeah.
was on me to find someone and someone said, "Let me get back to you," I would have already texted 5 people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like just because I'm
Yeah.
like, I got to get this figured out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew Nervo would have to think about it.
Yeah, he's a careful guy, and but sometimes I guess I'm saying, and this is not any shade or disparage, but I do think that can work against, you got
Yeah,
to know what you want before it's offered.
absolutely. And you got to
Meaning,
make that call for sure.
yeah, and
That's
it's hard because sometimes you regret it, or sometimes it was more work than it was worth.
yeah,
So I get it. And sometimes though, on the flip side, because we're talking about saying yes to things, it really is important to try things. But saying no,
yeah, yeah.
is
That
powerful. And sometimes you regret that too, but
yeah,
it's just don't saying yes to every single thing. I stopped doing that
yeah.
and I started making more money,
There you
number one.
go. Yeah, I had a friend a long time ago told me the biggest thing that he started doing was saying no.
Yeah.
He's like, I just started saying, and he seemed like a very happy person.
But
Uh,
but it sucks too because I think you're like me. We love to play,
yep,
and that's sometimes you say yes because I'm here on this earth to play music and entertain, and uh, so I will. Yeah, the answer is yes. What do you
yeah,
got?
and that
And we know a lot of people like that.
yeah, and sometimes that stress that is horrible, that idea of like, oh, I'm cramming for 4 days and then running it, that's like so exciting. And I look back on that kind of stuff and go, that was so cool,
Yeah,
like
and it gives you more of a victory. And I'll say the word pride. I'm not a fan of that word, but
yeah,
you'll feel that you accomplished something. The more stress that led up to it,
yeah,
And I heard this thing recently, which I want to throw out there to our listener, and I keep it with me. Is that one definition of happiness is solving problems.
whoa, I've never heard that.
Okay,
That's
that
good.
could be the problem of I'm hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything simple, I'm bored, or something deeper and more complex. But anything that kind of takes thought or effort to kind of get through it in some way is could be seen as a problem.
Yeah,
Problem is one way of saying it, but just solving the little things throughout the day and
yeah,
throughout life, they become happiness because you feel this purpose and
purpose,
meaning.
right?
Yeah, so I'm throwing that out there. But
I like
so
that.
if you think about when someone offers you a gig, what do I want to feel like looking back? Will I be
Right?
glad I did it?
Yeah,
And one way to help that too, and this can screw you, but is to name your price.
yep, yeah. What's it
Sometimes
worth?
people won't go for it, or the industry is just not able to handle it
Yeah,
these days.
yeah,
But yeah, what can I look back on, or what will I be driving to the gig? I've said this before on this show, but what
yes,
what amount will I be driving, or what kind of gig will I be driving to that I'm like, yeah, man,
yeah,
this is where I want to be.
yeah.
So that's how you could
Absolutely.
decide.
Um, yeah, yeah. So I mean, I didn't. It just that what that gig was for me, it didn't line up to where it was like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it
no,
because
I think no was the right answer for you for sure, and it didn't matter anyway.
it
But
didn't matter anyways.
the
And
family came first, for example,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's important.
um, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Well, another gig that I was driving to, and I freaking love this gig. I'm not going to name which casino it is, but it was at a casino, and they kind of changed something about the way they do things that's not positive.
uh-oh.
Okay, so and it's pretty hilarious. So I hadn't played there in maybe a year, and we finished sound check, and the stage manager or production manager comes up and he goes, "Hey, we're kind of doing a new thing now. We're gonna have a little band meeting, little meeting, you know, or the pre-game talk." Everyone's like, "Okay,"
Okay,
and then
are we in a
he
band?
goes, "Yeah, yeah." He's like, "Gather around." He's like, "So we just have a couple ground rules. We're kind of holding people to now, a little bit tougher now, just because people have been taking advantage. All right, so first of all, no tip jar. This is a casino. Any top band does not do a tip
Yeah,
jar.
no,
I don't
no.
even. That is so
Yeah.
almost insulting to say it. And we're like,
Uh-huh.
Okay."
Yeah.
He goes, "I'm serious. Like, even if someone puts one up there for you, like, ignore it. Don't even look at it."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like,
Don't read it. We'll know if you
"Yeah,
read
yeah.
it.
Don't see how much people are putting in, and don't mention it or encourage it." Okay, fine. Yeah, whatever. And then he goes, "All right, now that's A. Okay, two. Nobody, don't invite anybody from the audience to come and sing on the mic. All right, that is an absolute no-no. We've had people do it. It's just there's a lot of security and insurance issues. Well, we did let someone do it. A big star, of course, we couldn't say no. Fred Pastelina. Obviously, we're gonna let him. He just named someone no one's ever heard of. Everyone looked quizzically around at each other.
Wavy
And it's
Gravy.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like these casino towns, which often are in the middle of nowhere. Maybe they have their own celebrities.
Yeah,
Oh my God, it's Fred Pastelina. He's getting a cookie.
Yeah, he's got like a Subway shop, like a picture of the big Subway. Oh,
Yeah, Fred's car dealership.
Pastelina's
Yeah.
pastries.
Yeah. Pastelina's pasta.
He
It's
owns-
pronounced Pastelina.
He owns
So-
the town, man.
Yeah, so he's like, well, obviously that was okay. All right, so that's B. All right, 3.
Yeah.
And then he goes like, no one in the band is allowed to bring any type of drinking vessel upon the stage. He's all getting like proper
Yeah.
talking all of a sudden. He's like, no drinking vessel shall
Yeah.
be brought in,
Yeah.
And he's like a total hippie guy trying to be proper.
Yeah. Yeah.
He goes, no Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
He's well, except for the singer. He goes, you guys can bring up anything and we're not going to check what's inside it because singers need to be hydrated.
He said
It
that?
was so weird. Yes, dude. He's like insulting every band, the
Yeah.
guitar player, other band members who also sing
Yeah.
are like
right.
looking around at each other.
Except for singers. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. He literally was like, and he's looking at me kind of like wanting me to like French kiss him with a thank you or something. He's like, except for singers.
You know what I'm saying?
Winkety wink.
And he goes,
yeah.
he goes, and by the way, if you have a tip jar by you, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Just you, bro.
I encourage it. Yeah. And then his final thing is he's like, and no one, I mean no one. He did it like that. He literally did that. He goes, I mean no one backstage. And so I couldn't help it. I go, even band members, and he's like, obviously band members is good. I mean not band members. No wives, no girlfriends, no aunts, uncles, parents, no one.
The way this whole conversation, I'm getting a good picture of who this guy is. Like just total
He's
stoner.
got a silver ponytail.
So yeah, exactly. Like a lot of probably beige clothes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's got some kind of Birkenstock on,
or like a rugged boot.
rugged boot, and he's like, he goes, also, I do the lights.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, and then he's like, hey man, he took me aside. He just has a thing for singers, and he's like, he goes, dude, just let me know what you want for the lights, and I think he may have used our favorite phrase, sky's the limit. So I start to like give him a couple of like little, mini ideas that are not anything too fancy. And he's like, whoa. He's like, just let me know if you want to black out after a song's over. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So
He's like, this isn't a dead
request,
concert. Yeah. He's like, this isn't the Sphere, bro.
Yeah. Well, he's like, and then also the thing that he kind of like ended the conversation with that I wanted to throw my drinking vessel at his face, but he showed me that he absolutely 100% doesn't know what he's talking about. He literally said this, and I'm the last person you want to say this to. He goes, because it was a tribute band. We were there with New Moon on Monday, the Duran Duran tribute, and he goes, well, it's a good thing you guys are doing a tribute to a band like Duran Duran. I mean, tributes are okay, people know the songs and stuff, but only if it's a band with a lot of hits. I mean, dude, imagine, and he literally said this, he's like, imagine, that'd be like, some people there's barely any artists that work. Imagine trying to do a tribute to Prince. The guy doesn't even have enough hits for a show. I mean, so sometimes you got to think about it.
Was he serious?
He was not kidding, dude. He said he specifically called out, imagine trying to do a tribute to Prince. He doesn't have enough hits.
Which is,
I was like, he has more hits than the band we are tributing.
dude, and
You know, like-
Prince is the tribute bands for Prince are legendary. Like there's one in Vegas that's like one of the most popular
I know.
draws, right?
I know. It's hard to find an artist with more hits. So I don't even know what
It's
he literally said that, and the whole band like quickly swiveled their heads at me like, because they know I'm like massive Prince fan. So they're like, yeah. They're like, what are you gonna do? No, they're like, can you believe he said that, man? Right? He's dumb. You know,
what an idiot.
Yeah. I want to put a tip jar in front of him.
Yeah, pour
see
my
what he
drinking
does.
vessel all over his cranium.
Yeah, I'm gonna invite his uncle backstage. So,
That's hilarious,
dude, can you believe that?
Yeah, that's odd. Very odd.
I know. I was like, I just kept shaking my head like through the next 2 hours before we played. Like,
Yeah.
He had to be like razzing me or something.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
He wasn't.
Yeah. Sometimes the stoner Raz like gets a little foggy, and even they don't know
They
what's
like they make like say the opposite thing
Yeah.
they mean to say.
They're like, right, and it's like, wait, I forgot to like do a laugh. Was that serious?
Do you think this is funny, man?
They're all
Yeah.
just like confusing themselves. Like, wait, am I serious?
Wait, does Prince have hits?
Yeah. Did I drink too much of my vessel?
Too much kombucha? I'm all fucked up.
Oh, dude. Oh,
Nice, man. You ready?
yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready, man. You know, I feel bad today because, well, actually, I saw it last night that Santana had to cancel a show
Right.
because he got sick. And I'm like,
This has
dude,
been happening.
I shouldn't have been saying that about Santana. So sorry,
No.
Santana. You know, let's just take
Yeah.
you out of that. Maybe I'm just going to reverse my NAR. I'm going to give you all yars.
This
'cause,
is a first on
yeah.
Green Room, a reversal of the R&R.
Yeah, I started to feel bad because I was thinking about it more. I was thinking about it a lot,
Yeah.
like with the Grace Bowers and the Kenny Waynes, and I'm like, you know what? Because I went and I watched some videos of them just after I was just like, I know I just said all this stuff. Like, do I know what I'm talking about? And the thing is that I realize is that is the draw. That's why you want to watch that band. Because in my head I go, well, why don't they just come up with a band name, right? Like the freaking Wallflowers or whatever.
Right.
But then I'm like,
right.
if it was just that name, what would be the draw, right? If you say,
But that's a good example, the Wallflowers, a perfect example, because they could have used Jacob Dylan. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, see, okay, maybe I changed my mind because he had some great songs.
Yeah, he did. And they made it without the name.
They made it without the name.
Probably knew, but
that's true. But I think that's a lot harder. I think it's easier if you go, yeah, let's just make like Kenny Wayne the star. He's the virtuoso. You're looking at him. He's young. He's a kid prodigy. Like
it's a great gig for the singer, even though their name is
exactly. I think
great gig for everybody.
That's just the easy gimmick, I guess you would say, if it's a gimmick. But that's what works. So I do understand it.
We also need all the gimmicks we can come up with because of the state of things.
Right. Yeah. If you just name your band freaking Funky Pants or
Free
something.
Money. Yeah.
Funky Pants. But yeah, I guess anything works, and I guess as long as the music is good. So let's just let the record show. I'm reversing that. I'm sorry, Santana.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Grace Bowers.
A guy had to go to the hospital for you to come to your senses.
Jeez, I know. So sorry, everybody.
All right.
But nothing else.
So we started our yarnars with a nice heartfelt reversal.
That's right.
Okay, I have a left field one because I think it won't be a good last one. You can probably finish us.
I don't know if I got one, but so go.
Oh, okay, I got a couple. But this is not music related, but I'm so interested in this. Okay. Yarnar. Bail.
Like saying it?
No, like paying bail to get out of jail.
Oh,
Uh,
whoa, deep.
when someone with no money who did the same crime can't. So to me, I don't understand at all, 000, and anyone please explain to me how that's moral at all or fair or anything. How can
Paying
bail
bail.
be a thing? How
Right.
can that even be a
Like
thing?
why even sentence somebody, right?
Yeah,
Like,
like what is the point if of offering bail? You know, they've set it really high and they've set it per whatever the crime is.
yeah,
But of course, let's say it's a petty crime and it's, $5,000 bail or something.
sure.
So someone who is middle class at least or so is gonna like pay it and not have to go to jail.
Mhm.
Who knows what happens to the person that doesn't have 5 grand,
Right.
and that's why they're stealing probably or whatever they did. And so anyway, I have a whole
Yeah.
agenda on
I
that,
am
but
a total moron when it comes to actual issues in the world. Like,
yeah.
like
You're like bail, like hey,
I
yeah,
literally
which
was
is fine.
like bail, like you gotta go, like you gotta
Yeah,
bail.
well, let's do that one next because that is good. Yeah.
Well, I'm a huge yar for bail because I say it all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm a huge yar for bales of hay because I used to literally farm hay.
And yeah,
But
there
when
you
it comes
go.
to the actual issues, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess there's bail bonds, right, that people use. So I think that it's to
Right, but I
a
still feel
limit,
like people that have nothing
right?
can't have access to that either. Anyway, I hate
I don't
being
quite.
all heavy on politics, but I just want someone to explain to me
I would
how that's helping anything.
I would
Why
like to
that's good.
explain too. I mean, I think honestly, it probably has a lot to do with like the privatization of prisons, and it's a
Right.
big money maker. You know,
Right. But
they
who's paying it seems like, you know what I
right,
mean?
right,
It's kind of like
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I
the
guess.
privatization with, that's funny across medical stuff too.
Oh
So
my
it's really
gosh,
interesting. It's really
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Well, all right. You came for the laughs and you
Yeah,
freaking stayed for the
you
politics.
came for the music laughs, and we started with sports and end with government policies.
Stayed for the drinking vessels. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll end with one because this just happened with can't talk. This happened to me this week, and I had a little back and forth with my mixing guru Eddie Kaipo. Mixing a song as a committee. So me and you are both. You're in a band, but you're a band leader.
Yeah.
I try and pretend like I'm in a band, but I'm basically the band, and then
Yeah.
I bring. But see, here's what happens with me, because I like to involve my players and make sure I'm not missing anything on mixes. I even send you mixes sometimes and say, "Hey, what do you?"
Yeah.
And I like to hear bad things. You know, like if something jumps out, I like to hear it. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, that hi hat's strangely loud." Like I'd go, "Oh, okay, whoa, that's weird."
Yeah.
Um,
No, that is good. That's valuable.
so, and I always send it to my drummer because I like a drummer's perspective. You know, I want to make sure they're happy with it because I want the drums to sound natural and stuff. So, anyways, I'm working on a song, very hard song to mix. I literally had I used over the amount of tracks you could use in Pro Tools, if that gives you an idea. Like it literally was
I thought it's
my Pro
unlimited.
Tools was
It's
it is
just like
not.
starting to
It's
starting to stutter.
no, it says you have exceeded the maximum amount of
Well, what
tracks,
is the
which is
max?
maybe
300?
90 or 125 or something.
Geez, I feel like I've
But
had more than that many times.
right,
Huh.
but
Okay.
it's I went that far, and the end result was I had so many just layered guitar parts because I was just like,
Sure.
this is cool. Like I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, Eddie did a fantastic first mix, and we were both like, yeah, this is cool. And usually he'll send me a mix, and I just have to sit with it for like 2 weeks, you know, and
Right.
think about it. But
Yeah.
when I sit with it, I also send it to my guys and go, what do you think? This is where we're at now. Anyways, the drummer was like, oh my God, like the drums sound like, and he had a lot of comments. And he goes, I'm gonna call Eddie because he's friends with him too. And I go, no, don't do that. Like let's
You'll
hold
never
off.
mix another one of our songs again if you do
Yeah,
that. Please do that.
exactly. And I was like, we're gonna work it out. I don't want to overwhelm him. He just sent me this.
Right.
So then a couple days later, Eddie sends another text back and says like, yeah, I think it's sounding pretty good. There's a couple little things I want to change. And I go, yeah, there's a couple things I think we need to work on. I had a comment from our drummer that, the drums, and he goes, and then we got into it, and he goes, mixing as a committee is not a good idea.
Right.
And I said, well, I was like, I agree, but at the same time, I do it every time. And I think it's good to get an opinion.
Yeah.
So,
But funneling it through you is sort of the answer that it's not full committee, because
right.
like I think we're both, all three of us, me, you, and Eddie, saying it does become too many cooks in the kitchen, and I actually
His
feel that
exact
way about
words.
a lot of the business. I
Yeah.
mean, even in rehearsal, I definitely include people's ideas, and usually it naturally flows with how much contribution different people have. Like,
Uh-huh.
Nervo, for example, just like with his jokes, he'll kind of wait until he really has something he feels strongly about,
Right.
and then he'll zing it in there, and like it'll be the funniest thing you ever heard and the greatest musical idea you ever heard.
Yeah.
But he's gonna offer it 80% less of the time than
Sure.
someone who's talking a lot
Some
all
people,
the
the
time,
squeaky
which is
wheels,
like me.
sometimes,
Yeah, and I mean, so I don't think in general, like, this is really kind of, I don't know, I'm on this kind of minded lately, but I don't think like extreme exact all equal democracy works.
depending on the project, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just generally, because you can get stuck and mired in the meetings about
Right.
it. It's like someone, I feel like, has to, in every situation, be a last word.
Yeah.
And you have to agree on who that is because you trust them as
Yeah.
being the last word. So
Yeah.
having it forced on us, there's another political thing,
Yeah.
is not so good. But yeah, with mixing, the committee is you and Eddie.
That's
So
right.
he's not going. You do have a say on your own thing, and so does he. He's going to present you with his opinion, and
Exactly.
you'll decide if it's important enough, the difference, to say,
Yeah.
hey, you don't want to overwhelm, you don't want to like start over or something,
Exactly.
unless you need to, but you trust him, so you go to him already to give you the 75-80%
Yeah.
start, and then you tweak from there. But yeah, I mean, I've done mixes where I've had the drummer in there because I co-produced records
Yeah.
in the past. Executive, you have one of my previous drummers with the original band was executive producing,
Right.
aka paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's tricky though, because we agreed, well, I'll still be the last word even though you're paying for it, and that's the trust we have, and I wrote the songs.
Yeah.
But we had him in there, and that's fine. But sometimes he didn't know a lot about mixing, so he would send the engineer down a path
Right.
that really wasn't even what he wanted in the end.
Yeah.
But so for instance, and I'm not saying all drummers don't know. Hell no, a lot of them do. But anyone that doesn't understand deeply, and so even myself, like, who I do tons of mixing and this kind of thing in production, I still know when I don't totally understand something. So I'll say, for instance, hey, the hi-hat seems to me like it's being shrill.
Right.
Is that actually something else I'm hearing, or everything else around it's too dull?
Right.
I don't know. Instead of just saying like, dude, take the high off the hi-hat, like roll all the treble
Uh-huh.
out, which you might say as a knee-jerk reaction. But really what you want to do is brighten up something next to it, let's say.
Yep.
So, and a really good engineer is going to know that, but sometimes they're just trying to please a room full of a committee.
Yep.
Who's just shouting out things they want, and everyone is generally going to pay the closest attention to their own instrument.
Exactly.
And you say you want that, but I don't want that.
Right. And so, like, yeah, if it's, if the bass is really loud, the bass player might be like, this sounds
Happy.
Sick.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I do understand that. And so my arrangement, what I told Eddie too, is basically I take everything in. I want to make sure something's not popping out to someone else that I'm missing. And then I will decide, like, is that worth saying it? So, but okay, to answer the whole thing though, I'm gonna have to gnar mixing as a committee in
Yeah,
general because it is not a good idea. It's
yeah.
you have to have someone like you said in control that's looking at the big picture.
Yeah, I
It
mean, where I think a person could have more contribution and it really feel good for them as part of the song is in the performance.
yeah,
So when you're having, let's say we're going to use the drummer for example again here, you say, "Hey man, give me 3 takes," for example.
yep,
One that's really modest and kind of just tasteful and kind of not taking a lot of chances. One where you're letting loose here and there, and then a third one, do everything your heart
yep,
desires. And then I'll make my own comp from
exactly.
those
Yeah.
things. And then they'll be like, "Oh, you used that killer fill I did," or
Yes.
this section where I went to the bell and you would have never thought of that. So I think that's a great way to
Yes.
have everyone involved, and the best bands would do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you still have your producer who is the last call on it, or who says, "Hey, how about try this?" And
Yeah.
then everyone maybe is turned on by that idea.
Yeah.
So I hope this is not boring our listener.
Well, at least we're
But
going strong into music here. But
yeah,
I
yeah,
I
yeah.
like the
I love it.
comments, and then I will filter through and decide. You
Yeah.
know, you know what I mean though. Like,
Even our comments on the show are not committee. It'll get deleted if you're
yeah,
talking about no.
we will not accept those
No, we
comments.
actually do with like the bodily noises stuff. We take it to
Totally.
heart and
Oh,
we
and by the way, hi Wendy. Wendy did say hi to us through our fan mail.
Hi, Wendy. We
Yes.
love you. You about to go out of the country for a while, and
Jeez, she's
I
always out of the
am
country.
begging her to bring me with her. Yeah, she
Yeah.
is.
Oh, I'm
So,
going out of the country too. I'm going to Egypt next week.
dude, are you stoked? That is crazy.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Oh
I'm
man, it's awesome.
excited to see the band again. It's with the Enrique Iglesias
Hmm.
band. Haven't seen these guys in like a year, you know.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to see all these goofballs. And I'm gonna go to Miami for a couple days just to
Hmm.
program guitars, which is kind of awesome. Like I'm just gonna
Hmm.
go and program my rig
Yeah.
and it's cool to go there for a day or two and then go to Egypt and see what that's all about. So
Wow, dude, I
yeah,
can't wait to hear all about that. That's
yeah,
so badass.
yeah. I'm gonna bring my rig, so maybe we can squeeze one in Miami or something. Maybe even when I'm over there. Who knows? If
Yeah, let's try it. I love those.
yeah,
And you get a different vibe and you get to say what's happening outside your door.
yep,
That'd be cool.
for sure. Well, cool, man.
Awesome, man.
Awesome. We did it. All
We'll
right.
talk soon.
All right. Later.
Bye, mate.